Have you ever bought your favorite snack, opened the package, and thought, wasn't this bigger before? The price looked the same. The packaging looked almost identical. The brand didn't announce anything. Yet somehow, there was less inside. Less chips, less cereal, chocolate, toothpaste, less everything. And that's not your imagination. It's a strategy. A strategy so effective that billions of dollars are hidden inside it every year. It's called shrinkflation. And once you understand how it works, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Not as a manufacturing decision, but as a psychological one.
Every business eventually runs into the same problem. Costs rise. Raw materials become more expensive. Transportation costs increase, energy costs increase, labor costs increase. Everything becomes more expensive to produce. At some point, companies have to decide what to do. They generally have three options. Option 1, raise prices. Option 2, reduce product quality. Option 3, reduce quantity. At first glance, raising prices seems like the obvious solution. If costs rise, simply charge more. Problem solved. But businesses discovered something interesting. Customers notice price increases immediately. A product that costs $4 today and $5 tomorrow feels different, even if the difference is only $1. The price change becomes visible, and visible changes create resistance. Resistance reduces sales. So companies started looking for another solution.
Researchers discovered that consumers pay far more attention to price than quantity. Most shoppers know roughly what something costs. Very few know exactly how much it weighs. Imagine two scenarios. A chocolate bar increases from $2 to $2.30. Most customers notice. Now imagine the same chocolate bar stays at $2, but the weight drops from 100 grams to 85 grams. Far fewer people notice. Financially, both changes achieve a similar result. Psychologically, they feel completely different. One feels like a price increase. The other often goes unnoticed. And that's where shrinkflation begins.
Shrinkflation is simple. The product becomes smaller, the price stays the same, or sometimes even increases. The package often remains nearly identical. The branding stays the same. The shelf placement stays the same. Everything looks familiar, except the quantity. Maybe the cereal box contains less cereal. Maybe the bag contains fewer chips. Maybe the toothpaste tube holds fewer milliliters. Maybe the ice cream container shrinks slightly. Each individual reduction feels small. A few grams here, a few ounces there. But multiplied across millions of products and millions of customers, the effect becomes enormous. Because consumers continue paying nearly the same amount for less product.
Now here's where things get fascinating. Many companies don't just reduce the quantity, they reduce it carefully. The goal isn't simply making the product smaller. The goal is making the change difficult to notice. Sometimes the package shrinks slightly. Sometimes the package remains exactly the same size. Extra empty space appears inside. A slightly thicker container hides a smaller volume. A wider base creates the illusion of size. A redesigned shape distracts attention from the missing product. The package changes, but not in ways your brain immediately notices. Because your brain isn't performing measurements while shopping. It's making quick judgments. And quick judgments are exactly what shrinkflation relies on.
Think about how most people shop. You're walking through a supermarket. Hundreds of products compete for your attention. You don't stop to calculate grams per dollar. You don't compare package dimensions. You don't carry a spreadsheet. You look, you recognize, you buy. Most purchasing decisions happen incredibly fast. Researchers call these mental shortcuts heuristics. They're efficient, they're useful, but they also create blind spots. One of those blind spots is quantity. Price changes trigger attention. Quantity changes often don't, and companies know it. That's why shrinkflation isn't really a manufacturing strategy. It's a behavioral strategy. Imagine you're a company selling potato chips. Your production costs increase by 15%. You have a choice. Raise the price by 15% or reduce the contents by 15%. Which option creates less customer resistance?
In many cases, reducing quantity wins because customers react emotionally to prices. A higher price feels like a loss. A slightly smaller product often goes unnoticed, even when the financial impact is identical. This is closely connected to something psychologists call the pain of paying. People dislike visible costs. The more visible a cost becomes, the more likely it is to affect behavior. Shrinkflation hides the cost increase, not by removing it, but by relocating it. Just like free shipping doesn't remove shipping costs, shrinkflation doesn't remove inflation. It changes where consumers see it, or more accurately, where they don't see it.
You've probably seen it already. Chocolate bars that contain fewer pieces, cereal boxes with less cereal, snack bags that seem mostly air, ice cream containers that quietly shrink, toilet paper rolls with fewer sheets, coffee containers with fewer servings. The products remain familiar. The logos stay identical. The branding stays consistent. The shelf price often looks similar. But little by little, the quantity decreases. Each change feels insignificant until you compare the product to what existed years ago. Then the difference becomes obvious.
The most interesting part is that shrinkflation often works even when people know it exists, because awareness doesn't completely eliminate psychology. Even informed consumers rely on shortcuts. Even informed consumers don't memorize package weights. Even informed consumers shop quickly. Businesses understand this. They understand that human attention is limited, and wherever attention is limited, opportunities appear. Shrinkflation lives inside those opportunities, not because consumers are unintelligent, because consumers are human. So why does everything feel smaller today? Because in many cases, it actually is. Companies face rising costs. Consumers dislike higher prices. Shrinkflation became the compromise. The product gets smaller, the price appears stable, and the true increase becomes harder to notice. The inflation never disappeared. The cost never disappeared. The company simply changed where you see it, or where you don't. And that's what makes shrinkflation one of the most powerful pricing strategies in modern retail. Because the package still sits on the shelf. The product still looks familiar. The price still feels normal. But somehow, you're taking home less than before.